Welcome, everyone. Happy chess day. Happy stream. I hope you're all having a great day. Um, Today, we are going to take a look at. Um, we recently played our club championship at my local Waukesha Chess Club here in my city of Waukesha, here in Wisconsin. And I had a decent tournament. I actually played some pretty strong chess. Even though I didn't maybe get the results I was looking for, out of 6 rounds, I went 3.5, which is not too bad, especially with such a strong field. The field, I was out of 40 players in the open section, I was 31st in terms of rating level. So 3/4 of the players were higher rated than me. So I can't really complain too bad with my performance. Getting 3.5 in that field is really, really tough, especially when there was, 20 players over 1900 or something like that. So half of the field was over 1900, which is really phenomenal. And I played some really, really good people and I got some good chess. So, I beat the people that I should. I lost to the people that I probably should, and I got some results. I got a draw out of somebody that I probably should have won the game, but there was actually one game. There's one game that I did lose that I should have actually won. So there was probably one trip up, I would say, overall. So I could have probably finished at 4.5. But hey, that's how it happens. I didn't see it over the board. I couldn't convert, and we will go through some of these games on the stream today, which is going to be a lot of fun. So offer your input if you see things. We're doing this a little bit differently. Now, typically, I go out of my way and I do all my analysis first, and then I put it on the screen and we do it, and then I just go over it. Well, this time, I'm just going to show the games, and you guys can offer analysis. And I'll talk about some lines that I was thinking about during the game. Hopefully, I can remember them all, because this was a 6-week tournament, and a lot of things went on between then and now when we finished last week. So, also, if you do like this type of content, please make sure to hit the like and subscribe button. It does help me out. It helps me grow. It also shows me that you guys enjoy this type of material and that you would like to see more of it. Analysis takes a lot of time, so that's why I'm kind of doing this a little bit differently, because in order for me to analyze all of these games, it would have taken me many hours. And I think if we do it on stream, I think it would be more beneficial for everybody if we're working through it together. But we'll see. Maybe this format doesn't work and we'll have to try some different things. But all right, my first game, I was paired with John Becker, and I have not played him before. He, coincidentally enough, there is another, I think, Alan Becker, who plays at our club and at our other sister club, I guess is what we would call it, in Hales Corner. But I have seen them around on the weekends. Neither of which are related, apparently. I thought that they were brothers, but they are not related. So if you have had the pleasure of playing either one of the Beckers, they're both very strong players. And yeah, I thought they were related too, but I found out during this tournament that they were not related. It's just coincidence. They have the same last name. I would venture if you went back far enough, they might be, but I'm not sure. Becker's a pretty common name, so who knows? It's more common than my name, Sloan. So I've heard Becker many more times than I've heard or met other Sloans. But I would say, yeah, it depends on how you look at it. If you go back far enough, we're all within a couple iterations of each other, right? Okay, so I was black in this game, so let's flip the board. And I had the wonderful pleasure of playing a Dutch against Mr. Becker. And this was probably, maybe not this game, but this game was challenging. So I played my normal classical Dutch. We'll kind of dive right into it really quickly. These are pretty normal lines, and the idea in the Dutch is to get your knight into e4 as quickly as you can if you have the opportunity to do so. So I followed that, and a lot of the lines are actually to take here. So one of the interesting lines that can happen if they don't play queen to c2 is that we'll just add a new variation here. They can take and peel this off, and then we get an interesting line like this. And this is pretty well known, and I believe the actual book move here is f3 to challenge the pawn center right away. Because if they do decide to take here, we're going to take back and then push our pawn in. Whoa, I'm sorry. And then we have this huge pawn chain that is just very difficult to deal with. And it's not really something that white wants to deal with. So f3 is really the move to challenge it immediately. And this didn't really happen, but this is a normal line, and I was kind of expecting, though I haven't played John, I being 1900, I feel like he might want to try to do something fancy and try to take. But he didn't do that. So the whole idea is if you can get a pawn, or if you can get a knight into e4, and they do challenge it, you just peel the knight off right away, hoping they take with either the queen or the pawn. It doesn't matter either way. Both are good for black. And I believe if you look at this at this point right now, it's equal chances for either side, engine-wise. That's one thing I did not turn on, was an engine. We can take a look. Actually, you probably will not see it. Let's see if this will load while I'm streaming. I'm going to guess not. And if it didn't, yeah. Okay, I'm going to try one more time and let's see. It's going to load. Maybe it'll get mad and maybe I just stop the stream. I'm not sure. Yeah, engine couldn't load. I'm doing too many other things at once. That's okay. We will just move that. It's no worry. So we don't need engine lines to really look at this. So, but yeah. If you do get a chance to get your knight into e4 and trade this c3 knight off, it's beneficial for black. And at this point, I feel I've already equalized and I've gotten almost everything I wanted out of the opening. I know we're not out of the opening yet, but if I have the ability to play e4 or e5 without being really contested, I'm gonna be able to have a chance to do that pretty quickly, and that's the whole idea here. He took with the pawn, which I was really surprised that he did this. This was my first surprise. I thought he wouldn't want to disrupt his pawn center. I thought what he would do is play this way, and then kind of fianchetto the bishop. That's kind of the plan and idea to work on the dark squares. Now, it can happen, but I can't push e5 yet. There's too many pieces on it, and if I get the bishop here, I'm kind of stuck. It's difficult for me to actually push e5 at all. So this was the plan that I thought of was going to happen during the game. I was probably going to play here. This is a normal move to play, and you kind of challenge the queen to get off that square. You've got this nice potential skewer. Oops, my apologies. Skewer long term that they have to deal with. And plans here for white are to try their best to get in e4 to disrupt my pawn center. My plan is to get my pieces out here like this. And if I can get that, this is like a dream position for me to be able to start an attack very quickly, which is really good. And the other idea is to just completely load up on trying to push, e5. And with all of this pressure here, there's just really no stopping it from happening, with the idea of then pushing f5 to start going for an attack on the king. Those are the ideas in the Dutch. So I have all these plans and ideas. Unfortunately, he didn't play that, but I still have those plans and ideas even in the event that he takes with the pawn. Now, the benefit of that particular play is he takes a critical square away from me. I can never come into here at all. And these pawns together can be really challenging to deal with. Now, some of you might see this plan right away, which is theoretically what I kind of saw during the game. And I thought, well, you know what, I'm going to forego doing that, and I'm going to play my normal play. I want to start the plan that we just talked about. And yeah, he took a control of the open file, which I also thought was a little interesting. I think it was a waiting move. It's a good positional move. And I thought that we might see like a d5 really quickly to try to undouble these pawns. Because a lot of times what happens is this. So he attacks here, and I have to deal with it. I have to deal with this somehow. So I either have to move to a5 or d5. And it becomes a little bit interesting then. It also helps support this bishop coming through as well. So, you know, any number of things can happen when they push d5. That is part of the idea. So I thought what would happen is if he played here, I had two options. And I wasn't really sure which way I wanted to go, either attack the pawn coming to a5 or just kind of going into the center. So I thought what I would probably do here is play this. Given if this occurs, we have this kind of situation. And this is another typical plan. Yeah, that is another potential thing in the Dutch as well, in certain lines, to bring the knight back to b8 and then transition it back here to put it back on the e4 square, which is such a critical square. The idea in the Dutch is to control these two major light squares. That is really all of your planning is around the central control of d5 and e4. And if you do get that, great. But then also with plans of bringing your queen over here, if you do get this knight here, oh, cancel that. We also have here as well with e5 and f4 disrupting here, opening the rook up to sacrifice. There's a lot of crazy stuff that can happen. But yeah, he played rook b1, and I thought, okay, he's only got two pieces on e5. I can play e5. And if he pushes, I can come back or move to a5. So he played e4, which is pretty normal. You want to challenge this immediately. And whenever you're hit with e4 and you've already got e5 on the board, it's met with f4. We're going to go right after the king immediately because we've got all of our pieces pointing this way. We can bring our knight through. The idea that Hokey, thanks for the follow, came through, and we can now start our, hopefully, what would be a devastating attack on the king's side. So he pushed and closed it down. Yes, finally catching a stream. Thanks for coming. I was able to start a little bit earlier, which was nice. So I know it's not always ideal. There's a lot of people that I have on my channel that are from other countries, over in Europe and in India. So I know that this is not an ideal time for them, which is, it gets really late for them. So they never catch a stream. But I was trying to be a little bit earlier. So I am following the idea. Let's go. And I was going to continue with my plan. And he decided that he's going to go right after my pawn chain immediately. And I decided to ignore it momentarily. And he did it again. And now here is where I had my first real think of the game. I have to go back, because up until this point I've played pretty quickly. So we're on move 15, 16. So I've used about 20 minutes total to get through the opening, and we're kind of reaching middle game point at this time. And here I spent 15 minutes thinking about this move. Yeah, I wasn't sure how to proceed. And I saw all kinds of different things, and some, like looking at it now, there could be any number of things to do, but looking at it now, I wouldn't even dream of taking that pawn. I would just play here, second glance, and he can do whatever he wants really with this pawn, takes or whatever, and I'm just gonna bring my knight to here and continue with my plan. So yeah, unfortunately that's not what I did, but yeah, c6 is really, it gets really interesting, doesn't it? Because I can either go this way, which is my potential plan, but I can also come into c5 as well. Yeah, because now that this knight's kind of out of the way, it's developed, and now he can't really do a lot. If he takes here, we have it covered, and the rook can't come in because we're covered there, and we're doing pretty good. He has no way to disrupt this knight. It would take a lot of moves. He'd have to move his knight around or trade off a bishop for it. And yeah. Knight f6 drops b7. Yeah, it probably does. There's what was the other thing that we saw? So I came up with a different plan. I think this is also an option. Now, you have to be a little bit careful, because if he decides to push, he's now got a pass pawn. That's really good. But what that does give us is access to the a3 square. And yeah, or we just play a6. I don't think a6 works. We can play knight a3 and just go after the pawn, depending on what he decides he wants to do. And I think we're okay. So yeah, there was definitely different ways to handle this, and I did not handle it the best way, because I took the pawn thinking that I would just consolidate, and now I'm, I saw this and I was like, oh, well, I'm really good. This is but But you guys will see very quickly that this turns to it's very difficult very quickly, because now this rook is coming in here and has access, and he takes and takes, and now, yeah, this is open, but now he has this rook coming over here to help with the defense of his king, so my attack is almost squandered because I wasted these 3 moves, 2 moves really. I've said nothing about it here. I could have done that. The other thing I could have done is just taken with the bishop. But then I get a tempo, and I didn't know that I liked that. Then we do this, and then this. And I didn't like this. So we have to come back. And then it gets messy. I wasn't sure I liked any of that. So what I think I should have done is just ignore it. And played either knight a6 or knight d7, I think was probably the best move. But I didn't do that, and I took here, and then now I'm trying to stay. Yeah, I know, b6 was, I thought about that too after he'd played this and said, well, if, we have access to that, if he comes in here, I can just kind of consolidate and get my bishop behind there, because the dark squared bishop isn't doing a lot. Yeah, it's just very interesting. So, but yeah, now he's got this open line, and my attack is not gonna do very well, and he's also opened up this. So I definitely, at this point, I feel as though whatever advantage I had, maybe not at this point. I feel like maybe I'm still okay, but it's going to get very, if I don't act very quickly, I don't think I have a lot of chances to become better. Here's the other thing. I'm probably already lost here, honestly, because these pawns are now just going to be extremely difficult to deal with, and that they do prove to be an absolute nightmare to handle. So my idea of trying to get this solid pawn chain here so they can't come in, though in theory is great because now it's perfect, but it really doesn't matter when you've got 2 central pawns that can just march down the board that are connected and passed. So I've definitely made a lot of problems here for myself, and yeah, because now there's all these tactics, and it's just difficult to deal with. I've put myself in a very difficult situation, and I think back here, playing b6 was probably the way to go, or one of the knight moves. I'm not sure exactly which one's better, but yeah, I think b6 might be one of the better moves. I like b6 a lot. Knight a6 might be the move, yeah. It certainly might be, because now you're threatening to take that right away. And what does he come with? Just that? I mean, then we play b6, and then we say, okay, that's fine. Now we just do this, and we can, now we're locked in, or I can even put the knight back there. So, oh, drop d6. Yeah, that's no good. We can't do that yet. So maybe we just do that, right? Yeah, I think that's okay. You mean... Yeah. Yeah, I think the idea is you have to stop this pawn, or you have to challenge it or stop it and lock down the center, or lock down the queen side here, and then I can continue freely on the king side. That's the idea. But I had not done that. Anything but taking it. This was the blunder of the game for sure. This move single-handedly lost me the game, because now this pawn's weak and this pawn's weak, and they both end up going away, and then these two central pawns just become more than I can handle. There's nothing I can do about it. And on top of that, I have three completely undeveloped pieces, not doing anything, just sitting here. Now, I know this is kind of developed, but not really. It does come into the game later, but as you'll see, I think this was the critical. D takes c4 was the critical moment, and I blew it for sure. So I'm trying to generate some counterplay, and he's doing what he should, just totally getting his pieces behind his passed pawns, and now I'm in desperation mode, and I'm just trying to do anything, and it gets very... This was probably a mistake as well. I think I'm just lost. Yeah, because at this point, so I was so irritated with myself getting to this point that I kind of already knew the game was lost, and I'd pretty much given up. Now, if you look at material-wise, three minor pieces against three minor pieces, I think I'm still lost here. Materially, I'm probably fine. But bishop g4 was probably a mistake. I think I probably should have challenged this bishop. Maybe not. I don't know if that works, because he can push the pawn. That doesn't work, does it? Because, yeah, that doesn't work. So I can't even do that. I'm stifled by my own pieces, and my mistakes by letting these central pawns go was a real problem. Now, I probably could have saved this. Maybe there's a way to get out of this. I don't know what the engine would say right here, but I feel like I'm already lost at this point. Yeah, there's just too much going on, and I can't stop these pawns. Even with taking pieces and trying to consolidate. Now, maybe what I should have done... Yeah, I don't even think I can go... Pushing that was probably also a mistake. Probably should have just stayed there. Maybe played queen to e f5, maybe. Maybe this was a better move to play. Potentially. Yeah. And then maybe try to consolidate with getting my bishop here on this square. Oh, cancel. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe there's a way to salvage this, but I don't think so. Yeah, so these pawns came rolling. I lost a rook, and now I'm just kind of flailing, and I'm in desperation mode, and I resigned here. There's no point to continue playing that. It's just pretty bad. But yeah, I believe the critical point was I made a lot of mistakes after that because I was irritated with my thought process at this point. So yeah, You when you play the Dutch and they take, you're kind of expecting to have this like glorious attack, and for them never to be able to take. But he's with this rook on b3. There's really like no chance to even break in. Even after this, I think what a better, maybe a better move would have been. No, that's not it. I mean, that might have been an interesting move too. Just play that. And what can white do? I feel like some bad things could happen because of discoveries, right? With this rook coming in. But I don't see anything nasty, so I think I'm okay. But so let's say he moves back here and here, and yeah, I don't really have a way to. I mean, you could just even take that. Nope, actually he can't take that. But yeah, that, I mean, is pretty much covering everything. And then this is going to follow, and then this is to come. Yeah, I don't think there's a way to crack in at all, even with that move. So, but yeah, this was the critical move, and I totally messed it up. But yeah, it was an interesting game. I did get a chance to have a post-mortem with John on this, and he also agreed that this was probably the critical point in the game where here I probably should have taken. I should have not messed with any of this stuff, maybe just taken here and went from there. I don't know which way you would take, maybe that way. And then, whoops, bringing this in. Has to take, and then it's a game, you know. This is on pre. He's got to do something about it. And that would probably have been a better way to play. But yeah, definitely taking c5 was a mistake. So an interesting game, and he agreed. He thinks that kind of just going for the attack right away and not even paying attention to this over here would have been better. I think it's possible to even just go straight after it. Can we work it out? Let's see. So, new variation, push. All right, let's take. I don't know what he would do. What's the best move objectively? Let's say take here. Yeah, I mean, I can get in there, and then, you know, we have this followed by this. Yeah, it's going to get difficult fast, even though he's got this in here. Even if he comes in here. He's got to do something about this. I don't think you can stop it, right? So he can't come in that quickly, and that's tough to deal with. I felt like that would have been a better attack. Yeah, now maybe it's stoppable, but I'm not sure. Either way, good game by John. He played a great game. He punished me for not making the right moves, and yeah, I got a loss in round 1.